So I've been investigating for quite a while now what this word Yahovah means in the Bible. And we know that there are just a lot of killing that this Lord does, the Lord of the Old Testament. We know that the word Yahovah itself is associated with being cast down. But yet at the same time, we know that with all of this killing that seems to be going on, and some have come to the conclusion that that this is an evil person. We know that that's not true because we know that um, that the that there's plenty of good um, that is happening in the Bible. So we know that the God of the Bible is not evil. So So, why are there all of these connections to the beast, with Yahovah being connected to the beast here in Hosea and Revelation, and also in Revelation and Exodus? And why is there all this killing going on? If God is not evil, um, then why is God associated with being cast down, and why is God associated with the beast? And we also know that the beast is connected to this dragon. So the dragon gives power to the beast. Okay, so what does it all mean? And I finally came to the conclusion that the ancient stories in the Bible have a deeper meaning. So we know that there are multiple levels of scripture. So is it possible that on one of those levels, Yahovah actually represents a celestial object of some kind? So I'm just going to read to you Amos 5, 7, and 8, which is, I have dug into these words to find a deeper meaning, and this is what it says. Ye who change time to wormwood and make quiet the truthfulness in the earth, seek him, and seek him that pass the Pleiades and Orion, and turneth the darkness into the break of day, and maketh the day dark with night, that summon for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the surface of the earth. The Yahovah is his name. So, if you're reading this in the King James Version, you'll see that the word is Lord, and it's in all capital letters, and that word is Yahovah, which means the existing one. So the Lord is his name, or the Yahovah, the existing one, is his name. But in this verse, it doesn't really clarify whether the Yahovah is those who change the time of wormwood and make quiet the truth of wormwood, or if Yahovah is him that passes Pleiades and Orion and turns the darkness of the day into night, and night into day. So it's somehow affecting the rotation of the earth. That's what it's saying. But then if we look at Job 9, 5 through 9, it says, which removeth the mountains, and they know not. And this is talking about God. So I can just show you the King James translation here. It's talking about, but how should man be just with God, and etc., etc. So it's talking about God, and when we dig into these words, it's saying, which removeth the mountains, and they know not, which overturneth them in his anger, which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble. So like the poles of the earth are trembling or shifting. Which commandeth the sun, and it riseth not. Again, that would be the rotation of the earth is being affected, and the sun is not moving. So remember, like in the book of Joshua, it talks about the sun stood still in Joshua 10, and the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and didn't go down about a whole day. And the Egyptians also had a story about the sun standing still in the sky. So we know there's something going on there. And then it says, commands the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars, which alone bend the heavens, and treadeth upon the waves of the sea, which pass Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades, and the chambers of the south. So this word that is normally translated to mean which maketh Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades, if we look at that in the concordance, this word is a saw, and this word also means pass. So it could be saying that this thing is that God or the Lord is passing Arcturus, Orion, and the Pleiades in the chambers of the south, or in other words, the southern ecliptic. So if we look here, we can see that Orion is south of the ecliptic. This is the ecliptic right here, where the orbits of the planets revolve around the sun, and Orion is south of that. And Pleiades is right here above Taurus, and Arcturus is over here above Virgo. So it's saying that something is passing Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades in the chambers of the south, which pass great in intensity, unsearchable, yea, and beyond one's power without declaring. Lo, he goeth by me, and I see him not. He passeth on also, but I perceive him not. So, how could something pass Pleiades, Orion, and Arcturus? So, this is an investigation that I was doing last year, and I had made a graph that I thought could represent an orbit of a circumbinary planet, because we know that the Binary Research Institute is a team of science that are investigating whether or not Sirius is a second sun in our solar system. So if there's an object that orbits around Sirius and then crosses over and orbits around our sun, then it would be possibly a circumbinary planet, or maybe even a sun. And also it would be slowing down in this crossing area right here. So if it was orbiting around Sirius, and then as it leaves the orbit of Sirius to cross over into this solar system, it would slow down and almost come to a standstill in this crossing area, and then at some point break forth. So we know that the Sumerians had talked about a planet, according to Zacharias Sitchin's translations of the ancient Sumerian texts. He said that they were talking about a planet of the crossing. This word Nibiru in Babylonian astronomy means crossing or point of transition. And Zacharias Sitchin believed that it was some type of a planet or object or something. But this scripture in Job 9 is indicating that the Lord or God is actually this object that passes the Pleiades and Orion and Arcturus. And then I also found this other scripture in Proverbs 5, and I investigated these words as well, and it says the border of a foreigner, another place, drops down and shakes to pieces, swings to and fro, and her train is divided up and scattered and waxed fat. In the latter time is bitter pain as wormwood. Be alert, break into pieces, laid waste, according to the pace of. Descend, bring down her pace. Nifal, which means cast down, on underworld. And the underworld, maybe that means south of the ecliptic, I don't know. But this one's interesting. Balance the path of renewal, be quickened. Her magal, and magal or majal means track or revolve. So her revolution or her orbit wanders and is unstable, that thou cannot know it. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Be removed thy path, extend and draw near, appear and break forth of her abode. So again, it seems to be talking about something wandering from its path and being unstable and breaking forth out of her abode. Maybe this crossing area right here. Stretch out and extend, majesty, following a measure of time and repeating, so like a cycle or an orbit. Act harshly, foreigner, another place. Be weary of the power and the force. Pain in the abode of the alien, unfamiliar disaster groan and roar when all mankind shall be that are left behind shall be completely destroyed. Okay, so that's reference right there to the Egyptian text, which, according to Albert Schlossman and his translation of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, he says that it describes a rapture where there's this destroyer. The Egyptians called it the destroyer, and they said that this object caused a huge cataclysm and what sounded like a pole shift, and Osiris took the survivors up. The reason they were survivors was because Osiris took them off the planet and then returned them purified. And you can go research that if you want. But that's what this seems to be talking about. It's saying those that are left behind will be completely destroyed, and the beloved will be raised up or elevated. So again, we have a rapture here in all of these, in many different texts, not just the Christian text, but also the Egyptian text. So the other question is this object a sun? Because in Isaiah 60, verse 19 through 20, it says that the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light. So it says, the sun shall be no more light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light. The sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So is this object a sun of some kind? And then in Jeremiah, again, it talks about the destruction that the Lord brings. And we've heard this over and over again all throughout the Old Testament. And it says, now prophesy these words against them and say to them, the Lord will roar from on high. He will thunder from his holy dwelling and roar mightily against his land. He will shout like those who tread the grapes, shout against all who live on the earth. The tumult will resound to the ends of the earth, for the Lord will bring charges against the nations. He will bring judgment on all mankind and put the wicked to the sword. This is what the Lord Almighty says. Look, disaster is spreading from nation to nation. A mighty storm is rising from the ends of the earth. At that time, those slain by the Lord will be everywhere, from one end of the earth to the other. They will not be mourned nor gathered up or buried, but will be like dung lying on the ground. And then in Jeremiah 48:8, it says, the destroyer will come against every town, and not a town will escape. The valley will be ruined and the plateau destroyed, because the Lord has spoken. So this is referring to a destroyer of some kind. And if you do a Google search for the destroyer, Egyptian text, you'll find a lot of links that actually go into, and this is a good website right here, that will actually show you several different quotes from the Egyptian text that talk about the destroyer. God caused a great dragon from out of heaven to come. The seas were loosened from their cradles. Men went mad at the awful sight in the heavens. Then it passed, leaving the earth enwrapped within a dark and glowering mantle. God caused a sign to appear. It was a strange star, and the star grew and waxed. So that's similar to this in Proverbs that talks about the train waxing right here, and her train waxed fat and scattered. So that's kind of what that seems to be talking about. And men forget the days of the destroyer. So there's some type of destroyer that it's talking about, and this is a celestial object. It twisted about itself like a coil, etc., etc. But there's one other thing I wanted to point out to you, and that is that in Leviticus 25, we're told that the year of the Jubilee shall happen every 50th year. Right here, every 50th year shall be a Jubilee unto you. And we know that the orbit of Sirius A and Sirius B is close to 50 years. So I just thought that was another interesting thing that that maybe the books in the Bible really are talking about some kind of celestial object. I know that there's plenty of other meanings and information that's being relayed to us on all these different levels, but I'm just saying that maybe that's one of the meanings as well. I'm out of time. Bye.